Okay, now we're going to do the self-check, 9.1. This is on perimeter and area of rectangles and squares. So it shouldn't be too difficult for you, but I'm going to go through a lot of examples here throughout the entire assignment and just kind of go through it one by one. Again, you do not have to watch this from start to finish. Just find problems of what you're needing and then skip those that you're not. So don't feel like you have to watch this entire video, but I just want to give the help out there just in case you need it. So here we have a square. Square means every side is the same. So if one side is 7, like this, then this other side is 7. And whenever you're doing perimeter, perimeter means you're adding all edges on the side. So it's this, plus this, plus this, plus this. If it's a square and we add, remember, adding is just repeated addition. Multiplication is repeated addition. So there's 4 sides. So you can either add 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7, but the easier way to do that is there's 4 sides and each side is 7 units long. And so 4 times 7 is what you would calculate there, and it is 28 units. So it just makes it easier rather than adding, just 4 times 7 makes this problem a little bit easier. Okay, let's move on to the next one. It's calculating the area. Now, area is what is on the inside. It's all of this in the inside, whereas perimeter is like the length on the outside. So area would be like planting grass in the middle of this field, like that's a square size. Perimeter would be like putting a fence around the edge of the grass. So keep that in mind. Area is all the middle stuff. Perimeters, the fence around the edge. So for area, what you do is it's length. The formula for that is length times width. And if it's a square, both the length and the width are both A. So it's the same for a square. So if the length is 20 and the width is 20, you take 20 times 20, multiply that together, and that equals 400 square units. And that is what will cover all of the inside. Next problem. Calculate the area of the following rectangle if A is, let me change it to a pen, 18.7 and B is 14.3. So what you do to calculate area, again, it's all on the inside. That's what we're trying to calculate. So you take the length and you times that by the width. So 18.7 times 14.3. 18.7 times 14.3 equals 267.41 units. And it's this answer right here. Okay, calculate the perimeter. We go back to perimeter. If the following rectangle, if A is 6.38 and B is 2.71. Now keep in mind, and again, perimeter is like the fence on the outside. That's what we're trying to calculate. So you've got 2 sections that are 6.38. And you've got 2 sections that are 2.71 because they're opposite of each other. So this is 2.71 and this is 2.71. This is 6.38 and this is 6.38. So you can either write it all out like I've done and just add this, plus this, plus this, plus this, or you can take 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay, because there's 2 widths and there's 2 lengths. So that is the formula for finding the perimeter here, or you can add up everything. It will all give you the same answer. So 2 times 6.38 is 12.76, and 2 times 2.71 is 5.42. Add those two together. And let me just write this out so it's easier. So this is 12.76. This one is 5.42. You add those together to get 18.18 units, whatever it is, if it's feet, centimeters, yards, whatever, but whatever units. That's why it just says units, because it didn't tell you the unit of measure. So 18.18. Okay, moving on to the next one. We want to calculate the perimeter if A is 9.23 and B is 3.33. I like to make it easier, so I know there's two lengths, and I know that there's two widths. So I just multiply that out, 2.2 times, 9.23 plus 2 times 3.33. And you can just plug that right in the calculator, because the calculator will complete the multiplication first and then the addition because of order operations. So the calculator knows to multiply those and then multiply these before it does the add. So you get, in the end, 25.12. Now, if I just added, I followed this formula here. If I just added 9.23 plus 3.33 plus 9.23 plus 3.33, that answer is also 25.12. So keep in mind, if you are more comfortable with just adding all of the sides, go ahead and do it. Whatever is easiest for you, both will give you the same answer. All right, moving on to number 6. If the side length of a square, okay, is 3x plus 9, and its area is 1,089 square units, find the value of x. Well, the way to solve this is you would take this, multiply it by itself, because area is what's inside, and it's always length times width. And since it says it's a square, all of the sides are exactly the same. So this is 3x plus 9 squared, because you multiply it by itself. Now, if you're more it's 3x plus 9 squared equals 1,089. Okay, so because length times width equals what the total is. Now, since this is squared and this is 1,089, I can take the square root of both sides to get rid of this squared term. Okay, because square root and squared are opposite functions. So that leaves me with, on the left, 3x plus 9, and that equals, take 1,000, you're going to take the square root of 1,089, and that equals 33. Now, it would be plus or minus, but there's never negative distance, so you can only use the positive number. So you have 3x plus 9 equals 33. So you can just take the square root and not worry about the plus or minus right here. So solve for x. Subtract 9, 3x equals 20, whoops, I subtracted wrong. 33 minus 9, I was going to say was 27, but it's not, it's 24. Okay, then divide by 3, and x equals 8. So it said find the value of x. So right here, you just plug in 8. All right, next problem. Find the area of a square, still is the area of a square, with perimeter of 8. The perimeter equals 8. Now, if there's 4 sides of a perimeter, you will divide the total perimeter by 4 to get one side. So 8 divided by 4 is equal to 2. So one side of this is 2. Now, go back to make sure it works. Does 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equal 8? Yes, it does. 2, 4, 6, 8. So since it does indeed equal 8, you know that you got the right side. And now I want to find the area. So the length in a square is the same as the width. So this is 2, this is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So that's how you calculate that. First, you'd make sure you get a side, and then that transfers over to the other side, and multiply the two together to get your total. Let's move up to 8. Okay, so find the area of a square with perimeter 68. So this is the same sort of thing. Okay, if the total perimeter equals 68, you're going to divide that by 4 to get one of the sides. 68 divided by 4 is equal to 17. So one of the sides is 17. Again, go back to, is 17 plus 17 plus 17 plus 17 68? Yes. Or 17 times 4, because there's 4 sides, is 68. So if I have 17 here, 17 here, so that's the length and the width, you multiply these together to get your area. 17 times 17 is equal to 289. So the area is 289 meters squared because it's 17 meters times meters. And I should have put this in, but I didn't think of it at the time. But meters times meters is meters squared. So that's where that came from. 68 meters, you divide by 4, and that's where one side would be 17 meters. Okay, in this one, find the area of a square with a perimeter of 12. So once again, you've got your square, you're trying to find a side, the total perimeter is 12, divide that by 4, and it's inches, so 12 inches by 4 is 3 inches. 3 times 3 inches times 3 inches is 9 inches squared. Now, you can just put 9 in these problems here because it gave you inches squared here. Okay. If the side length of a square can be represented by 4x plus 5. Okay, so here's the side length of a square. And its area is 289. We want to know x. So if this is 4x plus 5 and it's a square, then this is also 4x plus 5. So if you multiply the same thing together, it's 4x plus 5 times 4x plus 5, but that is the same thing as 4x plus 5 squared. And that equals 289 square units. Again, we've got the squared term. We want to find x, so we've got to take the square root to get rid of the squared. The square root and the squared are opposite functions, so they cancel, leaving me with 4x plus 5 here, and that equals the square root of 289, which is 17. Now subtract 5 from both sides. 4x equals 12. 17 minus 5 is 12. Divide by 4 on both sides. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So we have now solved for what x is. It's 3. Okay, a quart of paint claims to cover 133 feet squared on its label. Find the perimeter of the largest rectangular wall that can be covered by this paint if the length of the wall is 19. So start to draw a picture. It tells you the length is 19 feet. It says a quart of paint covers the wall. So that means it covers, if a paint will cover the inside because you're painting. So that's area. Okay. Find the perimeter that could be covered if the length is this. So you would take the total area. Now, it's always length times width equals the area. So if you went 133 feet squared, that equals 19 feet times by x, we'll just say, because, and let me make that into a dot rather than an x, but x is what's this width that we don't know what it is yet. So divide this side by 19 feet, divide this side by 19 feet. The 19 feet cancel here, leaving me with x. And feet canceled with one of the squares, so it's left with feet here. 133 divided by 19 is equal to 7. So this side is 7 feet. Now, multiply that back out. Make sure you got it right. 19 times 7 equals 133. So that is correct because you took the length times the width and it equals this. So now that I have a length and a width, I can calculate the perimeter. So I need 2 of these and 2 of these. So 2 times 19 plus 2 times 7 is equal to 52. So that is how you're going to calculate that. And if I write this out, 2 times 19 feet plus 2 times 7 feet equals 52 feet. Because 2 times 19 plus 2 times 7 is equal to 52. All right. Hopefully this is making sense. If you do have any questions at all, please call me and I'll work with you directly. Okay, number 12, find the area of a square with perimeter 40. So if the perimeter is 40, each side, because it's a square, is the same. So I divide that 40 by 4 to get one side. 40 divided by 4 is 10. And they do the unit of measure, so that's why it's 10 feet. Now it wants the area. And if it's a square, this side is the same as the other side. So 10 feet times 10 feet would be 10 times 10 is 100 feet squared. And you don't have to put that in, you just have to put 100. If the side length of the square can be represented by 3x plus 8 and its area is 196, find the value of x. So a square is length times width, and if it's a square, it's the same thing. So 3x plus 8 squared equals 196. Take the square root of both sides. Square root and square cancel. 3x plus 18 equals the square root of 196. So I just punch that in my calculator and it equals 14. Okay, so now I'm solving for x. Subtract 18, subtract 18. 3x equals, it has 14 minus 18, which is negative 4. Divide by 3 on both sides. So negative 4 divided by 3 is negative 1.33. And I don't know how many, I'm just going to do 2 decimal places. But that is the value for x. Now don't get this confused. The side is still, if I plug that in here, negative 1.38, the side will still be greater than 0. It's just the x is less than 0. It's a negative number. But the side won't be, because that times 3 plus 18 gives me the side of 14 in my square. So the side will be 14 still when you calculate that out, when x is equal to negative 1.33. Okay, I think we have 2 more. Yep. All right, if the side length of the square is 2x plus 6 and its area is 400, find the value of x. So we'll do that the same way. 2x plus 6 squared equals 400. Take the square root of both sides. This becomes 2x plus 6, because square root and square cancel each other out. And the square root of 400, I believe, is 20, but I'm going to just plug it in just to make sure. Yep, it's 20. Subtract 6 from both sides. 2x equals 14. And divide by 2, and x equals 7. Okay, and then the last one is find the area of a square with a perimeter of 28. So if the perimeter is 28 and we're trying to find the area, we need one side. So if the perimeter is 28, you divide it by 4 to get that one side, since all sides of a square are equal and there's 4 sides. 28 divided by 4 is equal to 7. So that's one of the lengths. And then the width, because it's a square, is the same. And again, it's yards, because it gave it that there, right there. So what's 7 yards times 7 yards is 49 yards squared. So I hope that helps. Again, if you have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me and let's set up a one-to-one. I'm willing to meet with any of you at any time during the school day. So hope that helps. Let me know if you need any help, any more help, and we'll talk to you soon.